The information discussed in this podcast should not be used for diagnosing or treating a mental health condition or disease, and those seeking personal medical or psychiatric advice should consult with a licensed physician for formal recommendations. Please be aware that the topics discussed today may be triggering for some. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Great.
So I've made some upgrades since you were last here. Remember, I got
What's
a little
that?
timer here,
Nice.
which before we had to
Cool.
use our cell phones, and the
Yeah.
other Sarah.
No, that's great. That's awesome. Go, Thomas.
Thank you. It's the little things, right?
Yeah. That's the little things that make your life simpler.
Damn it! How do I turn it on? Oh, okay. It's on the back. It's on the back. Okay.
Start.
It's a pain. It's a pain. So, yeah.
Yeah. Ready?
Show's yours.
So, hi, my name's Sarah. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Dr. Thomas Hughes.
What's going on, everybody?
Oh my gosh, I'm here with Dr. Thomas Hughes. You're from you have a lot going on
Do I?
in terms of okay, so you have your podcast, No Supervision. You have Cube, right?
Yeah, the Cube Mental Health Services, correct.
Mm-hmm. And then you're also a part of Scene.
Yes.
Wait, I'm sorry. Let me just give you the floor, and you can introduce yourself, and then we'll go from there, I guess.
Whatever works.
Whatever works, yeah.
My name is Dr. Thomas Hughes. I am a child and adolescent psychiatrist here in Southern California. As Sarah mentioned, yes, I have 1.5 practices owned and operated in Southern California. I also have a podcast called No Supervision. It is a weekly or semi-weekly podcast. Not really though, because sometimes I go on these month-long hiatuses.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can't. It's difficult to
It's
keep
a
up
lot.
with. Filming and then editing and then also just with the other things that you have to do with your daily life. So, but yeah, I did my medical school training in Miami, Florida. I was there for 4 years. Then I came out to Los Angeles to do my residency training, and then I went to Baltimore for 2
USC,
years.
right?
USC, yeah.
I'm at UCLA.
Hmm.
Go Bruins. Sorry. Just kidding. I'm sorry.
Really?
Go ahead.
This is how we're
I'm
starting
sorry,
off.
I'm sorry.
No, we're starting off
I'm so
hot.
sorry.
Starting off
Never
hot. No, I love
I'll
it.
cut this
I
out.
love it. No, I love it. I love it. I'm to be honest, I'm more loyal to Miami.
Miami.
and
Yeah.
VCU
That makes sense.
than I am
that makes sense.
USC sports.
Okay.
So it's
Gotcha.
okay.
Okay.
We will be able to
Trojans,
coexist just fine. I think.
whatever.
So yeah, I went to Baltimore for 2 years where I did my child and adolescent training for psychiatry, and then I moved back to Los Angeles where Jordan David and I have started a practice called Scene Psychiatry.
That's awesome.
And I also have another practice called the Cube Mental Health
Cube.
Services,
Cool.
which stands for Connect, Uplift, Build, and Empower.
Whoa. I love that.
We may talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, that's a bit about me. Yeah.
Sure. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. And could I ask you, what made you want to become a psychiatrist?
Oh, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah. Or we could start somewhere else.
No, we're good. We're good there. The reason why I had that reaction is because oftentimes when I'm around colleagues and they're talking about their inspiration for becoming mental health professionals, you usually hear stories like, well, I'm fascinated with the way the mind works. I'm fascinated with the connection between the mind and the body.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have some personal or anecdotal story that inspired them to go into psych. And I don't have that. I just like talking to people.
Yeah.
I love talking to people. Generally when I meet people for the first time, I love hearing about how they got to where they are.
Yeah. That's really cool.
When I'm meeting them. And I do also love helping people, figure out what they want to do with their life in the future.
Yeah.
Who they want to be, where they want to go. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's what I love. The reason why I went into psych, to be more specific, is I guess when I entered medical school, I had no idea what psychiatry was.
Right.
Usually before med school, you have a few shadowing opportunities with different doctors.
Yeah.
I shadowed a surgeon, and maybe a few other internal medicine doctors, but that was my view of medicine.
Yeah.
And there's also just TV shows like ER or Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, Grey's wasn't me. I
No.
After the third season, I was off the Grey's train. But yeah, I watched shows like ER, and then you just get your regular images and pictures and archetypes of what doctors are. So I had that entering medical school. It wasn't until I did the rotation, because you do core rotations in psych.
Hands-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a medical student at that point, and you're rotating on an actual unit where you do or participate in surgery, OB-GYN, pediatrics. Well, I did my psych rotation, and like I said, I loved it for the reasons that I described earlier. And I just stuck with it.
Right.
And I've been doing it since, 2015?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Great decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, go Thomas. Go Thomas. That's awesome.
Yeah, like I said, I'm always shy telling that because it doesn't quite seem the same as some of the colleagues, but it's comparison,
That's really
right?
cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Got to stop the comparison.
Yeah,
Anyway,
definitely.
Yeah,
That's too
my
much of
story.
that. Let's see.
We
What are
can-
your thoughts on like social media and like teenagers and young adults and mental health and all that good stuff?
All right. Some people are not going to like what I have to say about social. I will do it.
I will do it.
So I think social media is great for many reasons, but it's terrible for many reasons also. I mean, both things can be true. So I honestly think if society viewed social media and cell phones, because that's a part of it too,
Yeah.
in similar ways, not the same way, but in similar ways to how we view alcohol and cigarettes, I think the world would be a better place.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by that is, where's the? Oh yeah, take a look at that graph. Did you take a look at that? Okay.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did. This graph.
So so people can't. Yeah, because
I'll put it on the screen too.
yeah, but if people, you have an audio, is it audio only or is it all on YouTube?
I'm gonna do both.
You're gonna okay.
I'm
So
gonna do
all right.
both.
So for people that cannot see this graph, okay,
Yeah.
it's essentially, this is from the CDC. I don't know when it was published, but it's essentially showing the suicide rate amongst people ages 10 years old up until about 24. And what you see here is you see a sharp, it seems kind of steady up until from 2000 up until, I don't know, 2006, 2008-ish. And then you see sort of a sharp spike, an
Yeah.
increase. Now, let me ask you, and even your viewers too, what do you think was going on around that time?
2016. Oh my gosh.
No, before that.
Before that.
Where the spike happened.
Okay. So I'm seeing a spike in 2010, especially.
2010, 2008,
2004.
2006. Let's pause for a second for the viewers.
Okay. Sorry.
Let's think,
That's
that's
a lot
you
of,
too.
That's
You
a lot
can-
of years there. Before. Yeah.
What do we think was going on back then?
Damn. I mean, that's when the rise was happening. I remember I started YouTube in 2011,
Right.
but
YouTube. What, 2003 was.
remember when chat rooms were a thing? Like
Yeah.
stranger danger, don't go
That's-
online.
That's exactly where we're going
Yeah.
with this. 2003 was MySpace.
Right.
Right?
Oh my God, I
Did-
forgot about MySpace.
Did you have MySpace?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did too. Damn, but people
MySpace.
probably don't even know what MySpace. MySpace was before Facebook. For people that don't know, MySpace was the first that I can think of real social media platform where you had people friend liking each other
Like
and
your
pictures.
top 5?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's.
Was it the first?
I mean, maybe. I can't remember. I
don't
remember
know
Jeffree
either.
Star talking about this, and he's been online for like 20 years.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. No.
Yeah. That was 2003, and Facebook became public in 2006 because I know I was graduating high
Yeah.
school.
Me too. Holy.
And,
Wait, can I ask you how old you are?
34.
I'm 34,
Awesome.
but I'm a professional YouTuber. Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
34.
It's awesome. 34.
You're both 34
It's a good
years
age.
young.
It's a
Yeah,
good
I
age.
agree with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2006 was Facebook. What 2007 was iPhone.
Oh my
I think the
God.
first iPhone came out, and then 2010 was around Instagram, and then YouTube
Yeah.
came following that. So,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I'm not even going to try to say that those platforms and social media are the cause of the spike here. I'm not saying that.
Right.
I am saying it's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, okay, and we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing it's not just a suicide rate, anxiety and depression rates are going up too around this time as well. So
Right.
it's multifactorial. Around 2008, I think, was the housing market crash.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff
That was
going
a
on.
big one.
But if it is true that social media, cell phone usage, and things of that nature have something to do with this spike, why don't we treat it with the same level of respect that we do with, alcohol and cigarettes when it comes to young kids?
Right. Exactly.
Let me ask you a question. You watch sports?
Football.
Okay.
Football's over, but
Good.
yes.
Good. Oh, so you watch football. For people that don't watch sports, just imagine you're in a mall somewhere and, you just see a family I don't know, they're sitting down at lunch
Mm-hmm.
or they're eating whatever they bought from the concession stand.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine the family and there's a kid there. I don't know, he's 12, 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And in his left hand, he has a beer.
You're right.
In his right hand, he has a cigar. Just living his best life.
It's a good thought experiment. I like
Just
that.
living his best life, right? Most people see that. This kid is drinking a brewski and
I feel like we're watching like a Jackass movie.
maybe
Yeah. And then
smoking
Johnny
a stogie.
Knoxville is going to.
And this, most people's reaction to that is going to be, "What the fuck?
What the fuck? What are you doing?
Why is it? This is not safe for this
No.
little kid. This is not. This is not healthy for the little kid.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares about an adult, but for a kid, this is
Right.
not. This is not good."
Yeah.
Right. But if you take that same kid, same stadium, same mall,
Mm-hmm.
and you put a cell phone in their hand, and just imagine the kid's been on it for an hour or two,
Right.
probably longer than that, maybe 6 hours for that whole day.
Yeah, and constantly checking it.
But no one's really gonna bat an eye in the same way.
Right.
Again, I'm not saying it's the same thing, but I'm
Right.
just saying, in respect to what we see on this graph,
Yeah.
why wouldn't we
Totally.
want to take it a little bit more seriously?
Mhm.
Is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
So on top of that, I want to be clear about something. At no point am I passing judgment on the family if you
Right.
do have a kid that uses the cell phone for that amount of time, because, you know, if you've been in the field long enough, you know the factors that go into that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest factors that go into it is the fact that if you do have a kid that you don't allow to have a cell phone or social media, that kid is oftentimes ostracized.
Yeah.
They get
Yeah.
singled out, called a weirdo. You know,
You're not on Instagram?
you're not on.
What?
What kind of phone
What's
do you
wrong?
have?
What?
Or
What are
even
you
if they
doing?
have a phone, if they don't have the latest phone, it's like what's wrong with you?
Yeah. Ah, it's so sad.
But that's what
It's so
parents have to deal
expensive.
with.
Yeah. That's, oh God.
And
Parents, man.
you know, if your
Wow.
kid comes to you and says they're being made fun of because they don't have a cell phone, this is like one of the worst times in a kid's life, by the way,
Right.
13, 14 years
Yeah.
old. And you as a parent have the opportunity to get them something that's going to put them in a position where, okay, they can fit in a little better. What are you going to do? You
Yeah.
know? And that's oftentimes what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I understand that my criticism is not of the individual family. My criticism is of us as a society and
Right.
the way that we approach
Mm-hmm.
cell phone usage, social
Yeah.
media, and the potential
Yeah.
safety issues that come from it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, for those families, I've met families or parents that have said, I'm absolutely not going to give my kid a cell phone.
Yeah.
It's very rare, but it happens.
Yeah, it happens. I hear that.
And they just don't give a shit. They
yeah,
just
they don't. They don't.
if my kid doesn't fit in, he's gonna find another way to fit in. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Uh-huh.
For those other families that do decide to get their kid a cell phone, one of the reasons that they do it is because, well, you know, I want my kid to have access to me if they need me in an emergency.
Mm-hmm.
To that, I oftentimes say there's a risk to benefit
Mm-hmm.
ratio that you have to weigh, and I tend to help people weigh this.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a kid that is struggling, because not all kids do struggle, not all kids
Right.
have an increased amount of anxiety just because of the cell phone. But for those kids that do,
Yeah.
you have to look at the risks. You have to look at the benefits of having said cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
The risks are obvious, which is every time they use it,
Yeah.
they're worse.
Exactly. Yeah.
Every time they use it, they feel worse about themselves.
Right.
The benefits of having a cell phone are obviously they fit in a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
which is more important, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I also say to them, cell phones and social have only been around, as we
Mm-hmm.
just went over, 20 years, 30 years. Plenty of people, including me and you, have grown up
Mm-hmm.
without a cell phone, and we were able to
The world
safely.
before and after.
Yes.
It's like insane.
We were
Yeah.
able to safely navigate the world
Right.
without having constant access to our parents. So it's definitely possible to
Yeah.
do. It's just, I think it's anxiety provoking to think about your kid not being able to call you and need it.
True.
The next thing is that I'll offer them is, did you look at that link
Mm-hmm.
that I
yeah.
sent you? for
Yeah.
the-
Oh my gosh.
The dumb phones.
Oh my God.
You seen those? When's the last time you saw one of those phones?
It's been
Long time.
a minute.
I have one in here somewhere.
Yeah. I have one too somewhere in my
Oh,
place.
you do?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I just don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I sent Sarah a link to what they call dumb phones, which is basically just a phone with just text, with just the ability to make phone calls.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Without
that.
access to the internet. You know, again, it's not a cool phone to have in 2023.
But it's awesome. I think it's pretty. I don't know. I think
Well,
it's pretty cool.
it's cool, but it's one of those things where if that's your reason for not wanting or wanting your child to have a cell phone, it's an option for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can also go that route. I think, again, it's based on the individual family. It's based on the individual case. But again, I think we really need to, as a society, sit down and think about how we're approaching this, because I don't know how many Netflix documentaries, I don't know how many podcast episodes, I don't know how many New York Times articles need to be released before we really start to, as a society, start to look at this and approach this and respect this as something that results in things like this.
Right.
So the last thing I will say about this is I will be completely open and honest about my usage of cell phones.
What do you do?
24/7.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at your phone?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Oh, really?
24/7.
Yeah.
The reason why I wake up, I have emails to send, I have texts to send.
You have so much work on your phone.
I've got work to do.
Yeah.
Right. When I'm driving from one place to the next, I need Waze, and I hate Google Maps.
Yeah.
But I know some people, Apple Maps, people hate. I love Waze. I use Waze to get from where I need to go. Right. And even when I go to sleep, I use the Calm app.
Oh, I love Calm.
The ambient noise.
Calm's great.
So I use that as well. And
so it's like,
I'm a high frequency user.
Same. Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you the difference. Okay. We grew up the same time period.
Yeah.
By the time social and all these other platforms came about, we had already developed our personality. We had already developed social skills and ability to talk to people in person. And my issue is, for kids that are growing up and getting access to these things at an early age, there's lots of reports of kids having deficiencies when it comes to social skills, because they're pretty much relying just on cell phones and social in order to develop relationships and communicate. So again, I'm not advocating for an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old ban on cell phone usage. It's not realistic. It's not going to happen legally. I don't think I would even vote for something like that.
Same.
I am saying that moving back the time at which we're all comfortable with people having access to cell phones and social, we might want to dial that back a bit. 16 would be ideal.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you can't use it. That just means less usage, less independent usage up until that age.
Wow.
So like I said, I had a lot of thoughts.
Like, hey, social media.
Was that enough?
What do you think about that?
Did I answer that fully?
That was amazing. Thank you.
So you say. Let's see what the comments have to say about
Don't look at the comments.
Yeah, I know.
Just kidding. Yeah, you can if you want to, but I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't know about
How much do you use your cell phone?
I use my cell phone quite a bit. I love listening to podcasts and stuff. I love listening to conversations and hearing people talk about interesting things.
You're listening to shows.
I like I'm a very audio person, so I love listening to music or people talking about interesting things. Or, but yeah, I used actually Google Maps on the way here. I'm so sorry.
Don't offend me. You're setting yourself back.
Okay. I need to switch back to Waze.
Look at this. I didn't even set the timer.
Oh shoot!
It's okay. I got the clock.
Oh, right.
I got the clock.
We got the clock. But yeah, I also use it quite a bit. I have an Instagram account, but I don't use it. Like, I use it very, very. Like, I don't promote it. I don't want anyone to follow me. I just have it up just in case someone is like considering quitting social media, that kind of thing. I'm like, hey, this kind of sucks, doesn't it? And they're like, yeah, it sucks. So that's all I do. Really.
Okay. What's interesting is I do have social too. We don't use it that much for Scene, but I definitely have one for Cube. And I have so few followers. A few. Depends on who the person is, right?
Yeah.
That I can kind of see. There's usually like 4 to 5 people that every weekend that log back on, and I can see when Monday rolls around, I get 5 more followers every week. I can see it. So I know there are people that are doing that, where they take these holidays from social during the weekend, and on the weekends they probably binge social all the time. So people do it. It can be done. Removing yourself from, and these are probably all adults too.
Yeah.
So
it's so challenging.
What's that?
It's
Removing
so
yourself?
addictive It's like, I could just, everything's on there.
Yeah. I mean, but again, the difference for us versus what we're talking about with young people is
Right.
we kind of already we are who we are at this point.
Yeah.
You don't want social to influence
Mm-hmm.
who you are as you're developing.
Mhm.
That's the worst because there's
Yeah.
there's not that
You don't
much
know who you
real on
are.
social. Yeah.
And then there's all these other ideas that are harmful.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, I might have like, what is it? Like, I don't know, ADHD because
Mhm.
this person told me so because
Right.
they're on TikTok or
Yeah.
this person said so on YouTube and they have it. So I must have it. I don't know. It's not
One of the gifts
not
and
ideal.
curses.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more information out there. Like I said, I don't remember hearing that much about mental health
Mm-hmm.
back in 2000, 2002. I don't remember any of that.
No.
Even
me
as I
neither.
entered medical school.
Absolutely not.
That wasn't talked about. But now
No.
it is.
Yeah.
But then you have people that are going overboard
Uh-huh.
with it and
Yeah.
influencing to the point where now it's gone overboard.
Yeah. Do you think I'm contributing to that? You can be honest.
I
Like-
don't.
like a bad.
I'm gonna be honest.
way.
I don't
Okay.
know. I
Okay.
don't think so.
All right. Okay, cool. Like I don't want to contribute to that, but yeah.
No, I mean, I think it's possible for anyone to contribute to certain things, but I haven't watched all of your content
Oh,
yet.
yeah, that's true. That's like 10 years of content. You don't have to.
10 years worth?
You really don't
Jeez.
have to.
No, I will.
No, don't. It's not good.
No, I will. I
It's
will.
cringe.
The only thing I know is that you are not harmful. Is what I.
Oh, really? That's
I-
it. Oh, okay, cool.
From what I
That's
saw,
good.
it doesn't look like what I saw was harmful.
Oh, yeah,
But I haven't
thanks.
watched it in depth.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Don't.
Otherwise,
You
we
don't
wouldn't
have
we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
I've told a few people to fuck off that have wanted me to do, and because I wasn't feeling what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it happens.
It happens. Yeah. Same. Especially with, anyway, I won't get into brands and stuff like that, but could I ask you about like, okay, sometimes I get viewers' concerns on YouTube videos of mine, and they're voicing concerns of other influencers like Eugenia Cooney, or someone like Gabby Hanna. These are just names I'm throwing out there, but there's a lot of suffering, I think, online.
Yeah.
And I think people are concerned, but they don't know what to do.
About
you
those
know?
influencers?
Yeah.
So I
there's
looked up some of them.
Anything you can do? Not
Yeah.
really. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, well, no. I looked up some of them. I won't speak on any of them in particular because I'm not all that familiar with some of these folks, right? So bottom line is this, as fans, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if there's anything you can do as fans
Yeah.
because you don't know these people.
You don't know them.
I am almost positive
Yeah.
they are they're sharing their own stories and you feel connected to them because
Yeah.
their stories are probably sound similar to yours.
yeah.
And, I've been a fan of many actors and
Yeah.
not so much influencers. Like it's a different
Right.
world now
Right.
because
Yeah, it's weird.
influencers
weird out there.
versus just movie
Yeah.
stars and things
Yeah,
like that.
that's
It's different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure that there is a sense of general love. But
Mhm.
again, keep in mind, you've never sat down and broken bread with these people.
Nope.
You've never exchanged text messages with these people.
Mm-hmm.
You've never sometimes even looked them in the eye before shook their hand. Don't go out and try to do that. Okay. That's not not encouraging you to do that. I am simply saying that
Like the fan that showed up at Gabby Hanna's house.
Oh, that's happened?
Mhm.
I'm sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm
There's
sure.
a guy that's who's the guy in Euphoria.
Yeah. What's up?
I forgot his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
But the
can't
tall
remember his
guy,
name.
white guy,
Yeah, I know who you're
super
talking.
attractive. He plays the abusive or kind of abusive.
Uh-huh.
He is abusive, but
Uh-huh.
multiple ways.
I haven't watched Euphoria, but I know what I know who you're talking.
You haven't
yeah.
watched Euphoria?
I have not.
Listen. Come on.
I love Zendaya, man. I want to watch it
Zendaya's
just for
good.
her.
Yeah.
Zendaya, is
She's great.
awesome.
She's great.
amazing.
You haven't watched Euphoria?
I have not,
Oh,
because
yes.
I feel like it might be too dark for me to
Oh, okay. Yeah.
stay in that space for too long. Like
Okay.
13 Reasons Why, I love it, but
Okay.
I can't do it for too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's
Sorry,
why.
I totally interrupted you.
No, it's
Go
okay.
ahead.
I think I asked you if you've
Oh
watched
yeah.
Euphoria.
Anyway,
Whatever.
Uh.
Okay. Point is,
sorry.
I think that guy is getting stalked by someone. So don't do that. Don't go out and attempt to make these connections with these people.
Mm-mm.
Because here's the point. If someone, and it doesn't matter who, they could be a celebrity, they could be someone that's not a celebrity, if they're struggling, the people that really have any influence over their behavior or the decision-making process, it's people that they're best friends that they've known for years.
Yeah.
It's parents,
Yeah.
it's siblings, it's romantic partners. It's,
Right.
It's people that are close to them.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that usually have the influence over those people. And
Right.
even with that influence,
Yeah.
let's be real here. Like, these are celebrities and people that are not celebrities, regardless of what your status is. This type of thing happens every day.
Right. Right.
Where someone is living a destructive lifestyle and people try to talk to them and try to get them to change their ways and they just don't do it.
They
It could be
just
someone they trust.
Yeah.
They're just going to do what they're going to do.
Right.
The only time, I take that back. I was about to say something real. It's not
Do
the
it.
only time. No.
Sorry.
Just, it wasn't accurate. I'm
Okay.
going to say the accurate statement here. That sometimes when you have these conversations with people, sometimes they do listen.
Yeah.
It can happen.
Yeah.
And sitting down and letting that person know that what you're doing is harming yourself and it's harming me and it's harming the people around you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they come to that realization and say, you know what, you're right. I'm going
Yeah.
to stop
Yeah.
doing whatever it is that I'm doing.
Right.
But then sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And when it doesn't, oftentimes the only thing that gets them to change their behavior is hitting rock bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to lose it all. We're talking money, we're talking friends,
Family.
respect, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll do it.
Yeah.
Now, here's the dark part about that. All right.
Let's go there.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Sometimes someone's rock bottom results in them being able to come to that realization. Sometimes that rock bottom results in them
Yeah.
not being on this earth anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have watched many a celebrity in my day, in your day too. Wait. Robert Downey Jr. I
Oh,
can
yeah.
think of.
Yeah.
Folks, I know everyone knows him as Iron Man, but in the 90s and the 2000s, that was a wild boy. That was a wild boy back
Oh
in
my God.
1996.
That was amazing.
He was in and out of prison, in and out of jail.
Yeah.
I think it was
Freaking
heroin.
Party animal.
Yeah, heroin
Yeah.
and alcohol. He had started using, I think, when he was
The time to live.
less than the age of 10. He was using. Being
Wow.
given stuff.
I
If I
didn't know he
remember.
was that young when he started.
Well, someone gave it to him.
Wow.
Which is how it happens,
Yeah.
right? Someone
Right. Hey, you want to try a cigarette? Okay. You're
Yeah.
doing it. I'll
Stuff
do
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
But that's oftentimes how it starts. But at the end of the day, so he changed his life around after he. Damn it! I'll see if I can finish up.
Yep.
After he hit rock bottom. Yeah, I know. We got 50 seconds. After he hit rock bottom, and then there's who else? Lamar Odom. People know him from
Oh,
the
yeah.
Kardashians. He changed
Uh-huh.
his life around. Damn near died in a brothel. There's
Mm.
and then there's other stories like DMX who died recently.
Yeah.
We watched him deteriorate over a
Yeah.
number of years.
I love DMX.
What is that other
It's
lady's
so
name?
fun.
Oh, Amy Winehouse. We watched Amy
Yeah.
Winehouse deteriorate over a number of years. DMX, an artist that I had listened to for a number of years.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that those people had someone around them that was trying to, talk some sense into them, and it just didn't happen. So,
Yeah.
if there's anything that I can say to fans of these influencers, and you're actually trying to do something, do something by not encouraging them to behave inappropriately, I guess.
Right.
Oh, did you watch the video I sent you? The Kanye one?
No, I meant to and I didn't.
Okay, it's
I'm
okay.
so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. We might be able to watch
Mr.
it.
West.
Actually, no, we'll watch it after, baby. So, but bottom line is, if you watch, and you might be able to hook this up on the video. too.
Yeah, definitely.
If you watch that video, what you'll see is Kanye is in his little moment of ridiculousness, right? And he's saying all this crazy shit, right? What's weird is there's going to be people that are saying he's not saying crazy shit. There's going to be.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's going to be interesting. No offense to those folks, but yeah,
It's
he's
okay.
saying some crazy
It's
shit.
whatever.
Anyway, so he's standing outside and the TMZ cameras are interviewing him and asking him questions. And he's
Yeah.
talking, saying whatever he's saying.
Uh-huh.
And that's not the important part,
Right.
the crap that he's saying. That's
Right.
not what you listen for.
Mm-mm.
Listen to the photographers
Mm.
and the cameramen.
Oh, no.
Hey, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what's going on? Why don't you tell us how, don't listen to them, Kanye. Just do whatever you want and listen to that. That's what if you look in the comment section, you'll see stuff just like that. As this man is losing billions of dollars, losing all his relationships, just out of control, essentially. Don't do that.
Don't do that
for fans.
Kanye, what do you think about that, bro?
I like that.
Yeah. Jesus. Hey, what do you think about Balenciaga dropping you?
I ain't lose no money. They never paid me nothing.
Basically.
You know what I'm saying?
Tell them the truth.
You're the one that signed it. You know what I'm saying?
You think Adidas is next?
You every time you say it, well, we're going through legal right now, so anything can happen. You know what I'm saying?
But you got Johnny Depp's lawyer, so she got him off, right?
Yeah, I think people just try to score. I think people just try to score points. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll try to mute you at all costs.
We can't cancel Kanye.
We are
can't cancel, man.
What'd you say?
They can't cancel somebody.
I mean, you definitely.
You off, you got us, bro.
That's right.
Look at that. Even
God's on your side, man.
Even God is on all our side. God is alive.
Amen.
Yes. You know, so even
He's
though
the master controller. We're on remote control.
exactly, we're vessels.
Yup, exactly.
Amen.
So y'all still
And
had a
there's a show,
platform.
too.
This is the thing. They didn't the warfare at this point. Anything else, you guys?
for sure.
Yeah.
Listen, man, God's on all of her side and your side, and you're the one that's going to be the catalyst to bring us forward, man. I'm telling you.
Do you believe
Tell
that?
me.
Do you believe that?
Loving the lies.
Love is God, bro.
What have you got to say to people that are trying to cancel you?
You can't cancel him.
I'm
man.
here.
That's
What we
right.
talking about? We here.
We are doing it big,
We ain't going
doing
nowhere,
it holy.
baby.
Kanye
2024.
And
if I-
So it's a fine line between supporting someone and enabling someone.
Right.
And whether you're talking about being a fan of an influencer that has millions of followers or just being somebody that has a cousin or
Yeah.
a friend down the street that's acting,
Anyone,
it's
yeah.
the same thing. You support people. You do not enable them or encourage them to engage in negative behaviors.
Right. Right.
That's what I would say
That's
to
what you
those
do.
those fans.
Yeah. So
Or
like
those
some of the comments that are like, oh God, it's so unhelpful. People just don't understand what other people are going through. So it's like when someone tells Eugenia Cooney to just eat a cheeseburger, I'm like,
Yeah.
you're not doing
Yeah.
anything for
Comments
anyone.
like that.
Yeah. I'm like,
There's a difference between eat a cheeseburger versus, hey, what's her name?
Gabby
Eugenia?
Hanna
Oh,
or
Gabby Hanna?
Eugenia,
Whichever one.
whichever. Influencer.
I don't know who
Yeah.
these people are. But whichever one, there's a difference between saying, listen, you should go eat a hamburger versus, listen, I think this is a problem. I love you. I
Right.
think you're great, but
Yeah.
this doesn't look healthy. That's different.
That's different. That's way different.
And like I said, there are people out there that are just trolling and just love to see the show.
Yeah.
So just don't be
Exactly.
one of those people.
Yeah. Exactly. Great advice. Thank you. God.
Sure.
It's just so much out there. I feel like it is slowly getting a little bit better in terms of like YouTube's regulations and stuff, but it's
For the
it's
comment
a
section?
wild. Yeah.
Oh.
It used to be worse. Like put out anyway. I would like back in my day on my YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
I would put out like a makeup video. Like, here's a new blush I really like.
Mhm.
And then someone would be like, go kill yourself. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Thanks. Okay. I
that's
guess I'll just do-"
nice.
And I was like, I don't know, early 20s. Like it affected me more then than
Mm.
it does now. Now I don't, But anyway, back to these questions. So
I'm sorry. No, seriously, I'm sorry
no.
you went through that.
no, you're good.
You put out content for people's enjoyment and to help people, and then someone just comes out and
Yeah. Oh yeah, all the time. Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. But let's see. Oh, speaking of like euphoria and stuff, we started to go down that path.
yeah.
And would you like to keep going?
With Euphoria?
Yeah, and also like, well, I'm thinking more in terms of like media that is controversial,
Oh,
that is
yeah.
very popular,
Oh,
like
yeah.
13 Reasons Why. Like, I know there's a lot of controversy over it because people are like, especially in the professional field,
Mm-hmm.
like people are like, why did they show her like slitting her wrists?
Because it's entertainment. That's why they showed it.
But
It doesn't mean
what
you have to
about
watch it.
what about if someone finds that helpful?
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the whole point. Like you can't. So we're talking about censorship, and I don't
yeah.
agree with censorship.
I don't either. No, that's why we're just talking. Thank you. We're just talking.
Even those assholes who go on your page and say that ridiculous stuff out there, they have a right to do it, I guess. YouTube is regulating it.
Yeah.
They shouldn't do it. It's
Yeah.
not a nice thing to say, but you have a right to say those things. Actually, no, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't have a right to go and
You
tell
do.
someone to kill themselves. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't actually. That might be because you can't incite someone to harm themselves, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point is putting out a sort of creative material. You're allowed to do that,
Yeah.
right? you don't have to watch it. I guess there is a way to look at it is where cutting and suicide was sort of idealized. I didn't really see it that
or
way.
Maybe like, was it like fantasized about, do you think? Or not even fantasized? Like it kind of glorified it in a way.
It. That's a good word. Yeah. Glorified it. I don't think that was the purpose of it, but with a little kid who just, it glorified to them.
Yeah.
So,
Watch.
this isn't anything new though.
Right.
Okay. So I remember 1998, 1999, there were kids that were doing WWF moves and jumping off of couches. I did all that
I did
stuff.
that. I want to jump off my roof and land in the pool.
This is a bad idea to do this stuff.
It's like Anthony Kiedis, like Scar Tissue. Have you read that book? He was a roof jumper.
Oh.
Anyway, from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
What, like
Anyway.
parkour?
Oh, he broke his back, I think. It was bad. But it's entertaining to read about.
Well, yeah.
There you go.
It's entertainment. So we both have experienced this before where,
Yeah.
because I think some people would hear about these stories and say, why would a kid want to?
Yeah.
But when you're a kid,
fun.
you see things like that and
You don't think about it, you just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
So the only remedy to that is, we have those ratings, TVMA and PG,
Right.
G movies that exists for a reason.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said for making sure that the content that a child is consuming is appropriate for them.
Yeah.
I think the overall issue is that I think kids had access to
Yeah.
watch it without their parents' permission.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't know if Netflix and all these other companies can take
Yeah.
ownership of that mistake.
Right.
And I also don't want to put it all on parents. I would just say that this isn't anything new. We all did this kind of stuff.
Right.
The thing that you will want to do in order to address that is maybe watch it yourself first. And you kind of have to know your kid too.
Yeah.
Which means, listen, if you know that your kid is susceptible to like following this type of stuff,
Right.
you tell them this is not something you want to watch. Or what you can do, because kids are going to want to watch it anyway, you might be able to have a conversation with the kid beforehand
Yeah.
about what they're about to watch or watch it with them.
Something. Yeah.
Something to that effect. But obviously, if just like with you don't watch some of that content because you know how much it affects you.
No, I want to, but my therapist is like, no,
No,
do it.
not a good idea?
Nope. No, do it.
Well, listen, you had a professional who told you no.
It's like, I really want to though. Nope. Don't do it.
Now, if you made the decision to go ahead and watch it and you had
And then,
negative images in your head about
like
that,
I watched it. I told you not to.
told you
Like,
not to.
yeah.
Right. I think that because we're two different people here. I used to watch rated R movies.
Oh yeah, me too.
You did too?
I love that stuff.
But,
yeah.
But you watch rated R movies, but you don't. So it's the content that's related to like.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's heavy. I love it.
Wait. Back up a
What
step.
rated R are you talking
So
about?
you do rated R movies like
Any.
violence, guns,
Yeah.
and
Hell
action
yeah.
movies, things of that nature.
Sure.
And
All of it.
So you're saying that you don't like watching movies with that type of subject matter.
I do. Wait. What's your question? Hang on. Wait. Back up.
So when I'm saying rated R movies, I'm
Oh, yeah.
including all of that mature
Oh
content,
yeah.
all of it.
All of it. Yeah. Totally.
Okay, but you like it.
Oh,
you just
yeah.
shouldn't watch it, is what you're
Right.
saying. Okay,
Right.
I got it.
Sorry.
Okay.
That's where we are. Okay,
I understand.
Sorry.
See, I don't
Yeah.
get affected by that stuff. I've
Really?
been
Oh, I do.
no, yeah.
I
don't-
really do.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't, but
Well, if you know that about yourself,
yeah. Okay.
you know not to do that.
Huh. Okay.
And for parents,
Yeah.
parents know the kids better than anybody. You know, even all right, I've worked with parents that are very good at certain things. I've worked with parents that are not great at certain, even parents
Yeah.
that aren't great at certain things. They know how their kid is going to react to certain content.
Right. Because you know your kids.
Right. Usually
You
better
know
than
how
anybody.
they're gonna react.
Exactly.
Right.
So for that type of content, I don't think the onus is on obviously it's on the onus of the companies to say, hey, this is not for mature audiences only. Put it in a section where it's not accessible to kids. But then at that point, it's kind of on the parents, especially if you know that this content is popular and a lot of kids are watching it, to try to watch it beforehand. And if you can watch it beforehand, watch it with them.
Yeah.
So that they can safely take in the information in a way where it's not overwhelming for them.
Right.
So
right.
Those are my thoughts on that
Oh my
controversy.
gosh.
By the way,
That'd
I
be
watched
so helpful.
I watched Perks of
Oh, being a wallflower.
I was watching that movie and I was like, wait, this isn't. What is the problem here? This is
What is the problem? And then it builds.
right.
Oh God.
The end of it.
The end. Oh, it's so heavy.
Aunt Helen. I was like, yo,
Ooh.
okay, now I get it. Okay,
Yeah.
now I see.
Like, oh man.
Because
Yeah,
the movie was what 90 minutes long, and I think the first
I haven't
70.
watched it honestly in a long time.
Yeah,
But I remember
Yeah.
loving that movie and be like, I remember feeling that way when I was a kid.
Okay, yeah. Which
Like just
character?
lost. Oh, the boy.
The boy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He seemed lost, and he was found, and then his friends left, and then
Yeah.
yeah. But the first 70 minutes were.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, what is the big deal?
What is okay?
Then at the
It
end, I was
seems
like,
fine.
oh, okay. Now I see. now I see
Yeah.
why this is potentially a problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, so for all of that content, yeah, just be mindful of the ratings and be mindful of what you think might affect your
I
child.
was also thinking like, I think before I started watching some of these shows, and I would check in with myself in between episodes,
Mhm.
just be like, okay, that was.
Yeah.
Whew, okay, gotta take a break
Yeah.
because that's just I can't be in this headspace for that long.
Mm-hmm.
Just can't do it.
No, I get it. I recently got Hulu, Handmaid's Tale.
Oh yeah.
That is the most
Oh, Handmaid's Tale.
I've watched.
Oh my God.
Right, all of the graphic shows
Wow.
and movies that are out there.
Handmaid's Tale.
That is the most graphic show I've ever seen.
Yes. Thank you.
It is.
Oh my God.
It's the most graphic I've ever seen, just because of.
I get so
the
angry.
content.
I'm like, ah, like you feel
Yeah.
the characters.
Yeah, that's the most graphic and intense show I've
Ooh.
ever seen by far. By far, that includes the Game of Thrones. That includes.
Oh, you've seen that? Yeah, all that
Seen-
stuff.
seen
Yeah,
all the
all of it.
shows.
All of it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Handmaid's Tale. Whew.
It's like damn.
Gosh, everyone's getting hanged. Everyone's getting okay. Anyway,
R word. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Oh
All
my
right.
gosh. Let's see. How about this? Might be a good segue question. So, if a person or a young person is struggling, maybe themselves, what would you say to a kid who might be dealing with a lot of complex like feelings and thoughts and issues, and they're just a teenager and they don't know what to do or how to reach out for help or how to even ask for help? What would you say to a kid struggling who might be watching some of those shows
Well,
and is maybe relating to some of those characters?
Well, I think first things first. This is as an adult. One of the things that really has always stuck with me. I was having a conversation with, I guess he was an administrator in med school. And med school is tough,
Yeah.
anxiety provoking, and it's difficult to navigate and everything. But I was talking to him
Yeah.
about, where I was in position with the rest of the class.
Yeah.
And he knew my record. He knew what scores I was getting and all that stuff. So,
Yeah.
and I remember him like looking me in the eye and just like, listen, man, you're doing okay. You are
Yeah.
having the same issues that everyone else is having. You are where you're supposed to be,
Yeah.
is what he told me. And I think at that moment I had known that, but I hadn't had anyone remind me of the fact
Right.
that everyone is here struggling. Everyone has
Right.
issues. Everyone's going through something. But, when you're in the moment,
Yeah. It's
Especially when
hard to remember
you're-
that.
when you're young and in the moment,
Yeah.
you're not thinking about the fact that, man, other people have gone through this stuff too.
Yeah.
And they've made it through the process. So you're not alone, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I would say to this person struggling. Most likely, you're not alone. There's other people that have gone through what you're currently going through. There's not much new under the sun.
Yeah.
So if you got a friend who is struggling, so remember what I mentioned earlier about the people that are around you that have the most influence over you.
Right.
Friends,
Mm-hmm.
family, romantic partners.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's coming to you and they're saying that they're struggling, the first thing you want to do is obviously listen to what they have to say in a non-judgmental way. Just shut up and let them talk.
Let them talk.
Yeah, let them talk.
Just-
So you can understand what's going on, because I think sometimes when people start talking, we're all guilty of this sometimes. When people start telling you their problems,
And you react.
you just react to it
Yeah.
without
yeah.
taking it in and hearing what they have to say.
Gotta like pause and
Yeah,
listen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let them talk. Don't judge them. Give what do we call that? Affirm what they're trying to
Yeah.
affirm what they're trying to tell you.
Uh-huh.
validating comments.
Right.
Validating
It's like
comments are
just
basically
active
saying,
listening.
Yeah.
Like repeating kind of what they're saying back to them and seeing if that even is what they're saying.
Mhm.
Because you want to know what is actually going on.
right.
Yeah.
But sometimes even if you think you understand it, repeating it back to them doesn't sound the same. So you want to be on
Right.
the same page about that.
Yeah.
Validating comments might be something like, oh, that sounds like it's very difficult for you.
Mhm.
Sounds like it's very
It
hard.
sounds, yeah.
And what that does for people is that generally lets them know that you are listening and they do feel heard. So that's
Right.
always good.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing is not necessarily to offer a solution, but ask them, how can I
Yeah.
help you? Do you need help? Do you want help?
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think can be helpful for you?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's always good.
Yeah.
Instead of telling them you have a solution,
You
asking them
got
what they
this.
think
You
will be
got
helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's sort of like for mild
Mm-hmm.
situations.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Issues with your boyfriend or girlfriend, grades aren't where you want
Yeah.
them to be. Okay. And then, I
And
do
there's
this
like,
mild, moderate, and severe.
mm-hmm. Right.
This is how I think of medicine. This is how I think of things.
Mm-hmm.
When you cross over into like
Mhm.
thoughts about hurting yourself,
Mm-hmm.
hurting somebody else, or even ending your life,
Mm-hmm.
because hurting yourself and ending your life are two different things. Actually.
Right. Right.
So whenever you get into that territory, again, we're talking about young people, right? Like
Yeah.
adolescents.
Yeah.
You
Teenagers.
immediately go to an adult,
Yeah.
a parent, their parent, maybe even your
Mhm.
parent,
Yeah.
because I think the struggle for kids is that sometimes they're asked to do way more than
Right.
what they're
Right.
capable of
Mm-hmm.
handling
Mm-hmm.
at that age. And I remember being 13 and 14 myself, thinking
Yeah.
that I can handle most things.
Mhm.
And maybe I could, but there are things that I was not mature enough to handle.
Right.
So I'm just saying this now. If somebody is having thoughts of hurting themselves, other
Yeah.
people, that is beyond what a 13-year-old or 14-year-old
Well,
can
sorry.
can
Oh,
handle.
goodness.
So in one way you might be able to approach that, because I imagine this might happen too, where that friend
Mhm.
says, I don't want you to tell anyone.
Right.
I want this to be our
Yeah.
secret. Don't tell anyone I'm thinking
Don't tell
about
anyone
this.
that.
Don't tell anyone I'm cutting.
They'll send you to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's not helpful.
Yeah. I'm cutting. I'm hitting my head against the wall. I'm doing all sorts of stuff.
Mhm.
Don't tell anyone. It's like, well, listen. This is again goes back to the risk,
Mm-hmm.
weighing the risk and the benefits of that.
Mm-hmm.
Benefits of not telling someone is obviously, you get to maintain that trust with that friend.
Right.
The risk is obviously something very, very bad happening.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself, are you going to feel worse if your friend is mad at you because you air quotes betrayed their trust?
Right. Exactly.
Or are you going to be more sad if something really bad happens to your friend?
Yeah.
I think you're going to be more upset if something bad happens to your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
erring on the side of caution and letting an adult know would be the go-to move for that.
Yeah.
Now, if that needs to happen, one thing you might be able to do is tell your friend, like, listen, I think we need to go talk to
Yeah.
such and such.
Yeah.
Or I think we need to tell your mom about such and such. Or if you do that, that person might be a little bit more inclined to do it. That would be good, right?
Mhm.
But if you don't feel like your friend is going to do that, and you do have to go tell an adult against their
Yeah.
best wishes, another thing you might be able to do is go talk to that kid with the adults so that
Mhm.
they don't feel ambushed.
Yeah.
Again, the overall point is you're doing this because you care about them.
Right.
If you tell someone, you could make an argument for them betraying your trust.
Mhm.
But I think when you are friends with somebody, you have an agreement to act in their best interest.
Right. Exactly.
And sometimes this goes back to what I was saying with enabling and supporting.
Right. Yeah.
You want to support that person
Yeah.
when they're doing something positive. But
Mhm.
when they're doing something negative, if you care about somebody,
You
you
gotta-
don't support.
No, the negative behavior.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you're the person that is struggling,
Mm-hmm.
main thing that you would want to do is, find somebody that you trust
Mm-hmm.
and try to express yourself as best you can.
Mhm.
Some people need to write things down in letter form. Some people need to text it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. How do you deal with like,
Do what
okay,
you gotta
so
do.
you're a professional and like, how do you deal with like emojis?
What do you mean?
Sorry, this is
Like on a personal level?
no,
All
I'm
the
sorry-
time.
Sorry.
I love
like,
emojis.
I love
GIFs.
emojis. But like, I'm sorry, as a professional
Yeah.
and you talk to kids,
Yeah.
how do you translate emojis? this is a random question. I did not mean to go there, but
It's
I'm
okay.
like, how do you communicate with?
Oh, I don't text
Pictures and-
kids. I don't
Oh,
text
you
kids.
don't?
No, no,
okay.
I don't text
you
kids.
don't. You call. You,
I don't even
just call.
text. I don't even text adults. Yeah. So
Oh.
there's no texting. Maybe through
Yeah.
email. We'll talk through
Yeah.
email, but
Oh,
there's no
right, right.
emojis with email.
Right. No. Yeah.
But my emoji game is
Dude,
nice.
mine. Yeah. Same.
Kidding me?
Same.
There are a few that I have to look up, and there's
Like,
directories.
what does this even mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There's directories you can look up.
Yeah.
But most people use very basic emojis.
Yeah.
And I'm good with those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are able to be like understood. I'm like, oh, yeah.
But no, I don't. Yeah, I don't text the kids. At the most, usually it'll be the parent that I'm communicating with
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to direct communication that way, and then I'll talk to the child after that. But
Yeah.
very rarely would I ever text
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
kids.
Cool.
Parents, yeah.
Huh. Okay. Hang on. This was going into another question, and now I can't remember what. That might lead us into another question. I have comments quite a bit on my YouTube videos, and I can just tell by the writing that it's from a younger person.
Mm-hmm.
And what if someone's dealing with like online bullying or even bullying in person, like a young kid? How is the best way to approach that situation?
You know, would you believe it that there are people out there in this world that think bullying is a good thing?
I mean, adults do it too. I mean, it's not, yeah.
No, but they think it's good.
Yeah.
We're talking about for kids. We're focusing
Yeah.
on kids.
Yeah, kids.
And they think it's good. They think
Uh-huh.
it builds resiliency. They think it helps them become tougher.
Mhm.
Ah,
Yeah.
tough.
Like you
Yeah.
don't need,
If you can't
Yeah.
deal with this as a kid, how are you going to deal with it as an adult?
like, you're a
Fuck
kid.
off.
Yeah, fuck off.
Fuck off, man. So when I say that, let's be clear about something, okay?
Okay.
So I don't know the textbook definition of bullying. We might be able to look it up, but what I consider
Mm-hmm.
to be bullying is it's excessive emotional or physical,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, interactions, right? Somebody is stronger either socially or physically over someone, and they're overpowering them. And it's happening over and over again. That's
Yeah.
a very informal definition of bullying.
Yeah.
If we're talking about just making a joke,
Yeah.
small joke about a friend,
Yeah.
that's good. I think that's
harmless.
good.
It's fun.
You should make fun of
Yeah.
your friends.
Friends are stupid. Sorry.
In a good
they can
way.
act stupid. Yeah.
I remember when I was, man, I might have been 8 years old.
Uh-huh.
I remember this is back when baggy jeans were.
Oh yeah, pipes. Do you remember pipes jeans?
I
No.
never wore
Okay, those were maybe it was a Midwest thing.
I don't think my neighborhood had pipes jeans. No, this is 1997, 96, something like that. Baggy jeans, hip hop music was a
Hell
thing.
yeah.
And I'm 8 years old. I wasn't really dressing myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because my mom was dressing me. And I think at that time, purple might have been my favorite color, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I might have hit a growth spurt. I don't know. Maybe the jeans were in the wash for too long, but I remember putting on a pair of jeans and I had to kind of squeeze in them. And I wasn't thinking about it because I'm 8.
Yeah, you're a child.
I'm not thinking about style, you know? But I
Yeah.
remember going to school that day and I had on these tight ass purple jeans, man. And I wouldn't call it the hood, but it's close to the hood.
Yeah.
You got on tight ass purple jeans in 1997. I mean, this is terrible. I don't know it yet. See, this is the thing. I don't know it yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get to
Yeah.
school and
Oh no.
my name is Thomas Hughes, right? They called me
Walk in.
Thomas Huggies for because I tight
They
the jeans
didn't.
were. Oh, yeah, Thomas Huggies for years.
No.
but
Oh my God.
here's the
Sorry.
thing, though. Here's the
So
thing.
funny.
So
Oh my God.
that type of stuff, I don't look back on it like I was bullied.
Right.
And by the way, I had like a horrible 6th grade year. That was terrible, right? We won't get into that. But that instance when they called me Thomas Huggies, that is what I consider to be, it's kids
funny.
being kids.
Yeah.
It's funny. You have to be able to have a sense of humor about
Yeah.
certain things.
Yeah.
Now listen, if it really was affecting me to the point where I can't handle this, like
Yeah.
kids are taking it further than just calling me Thomas Huggies, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Or I'm getting beat up. Yeah, I know, right? I know. The worst thing about it was I don't think I made the connect. I thought people were just making fun of my name.
Yeah.
It was the jeans.
It was the jeans.
And a friend told me years later, that's
Aw.
why we called you Thomas Huggies.
Oh, that's why.
My dumb ass. Again, I'm 8. I don't know. But anyway,
Yeah.
if I were getting beat up every day, people were putting their hands on me. And there's probably another video I should send you too of this. You might have seen it where a guy came in. I think it looked like a school board meeting. And a guy came in and basically spoke directly to the person that shoved his head into a toilet like 30
wow.
years, 40 years prior to.
Wow.
I'll show you that video too.
Oh,
Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Greg Barrett.
My name is Greg Barrett. I graduated from KSD in 1983. I started in 1975 with Mr. Lance. My legal name is Greg Gay. I was bullied, unbelievably bullied. I started out and I had teachers that bullied me. I had kids that bullied me. Even the coaches, I had nobody to turn to. One day at lunch, I had my head shoved in the urinal where it busted my lip. I had laid on the ground in a fetal position as the kids kicked me. I got up, I rinsed my face off, I walked out of the lunchroom, walked straight to the principal's office, and he told me, these kids will grow up someday. They won't always be like this. But yet, here I am, covered in urine from laying on the ground underneath the urinal. My lip was busted, and they sent me home. Well, I went home, and I got the .45 out of my father's drawer and put it in my mouth. Because at this point, I had nobody in the school system to help me. Is that the way this is going to be? Lance, you were the one that shoved my head in the urinal.
Mr.
Thank you.
Tell you what, this is unbelievable.
You want to debate it? Because I got witnesses that were there when it happened.
Next speaker.
All right, our next speaker.
oh my God.
So when you cross into that territory where you're putting hands on somebody, assaulting them, and you're making fun of them on a daily basis,
yeah.
that is
Oof.
by definition,
Oof.
that's
abuse.
it's abuse. It's crossed the line,
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
So bullying is inherently harassment. And when
Right.
you say harassment means you've crossed the line between acceptable into the unacceptable territory.
Right.
So that's why I say when someone says bullying is good, I'm just like, what
Why?
are you talking
What
about?
the hell? Yeah.
Developing a sense of humor about yourself, good.
Yeah.
But when it gets to the point where you are emotionally affected by it, that's
Something
not
needs
good.
to change.
Okay. So what are we going to do about bullying? Okay. I think that was your question. So here's the issue. Like I just said, there are some people that think that bullying is good.
Right.
And unfortunately, some of those people are adults and they
Yeah.
work in the school system. Right.
Ugh.
So and I'm no expert on this, by the way. This is just my understanding of it. Bullying laws and the way schools approach bullying might be dependent upon the administrator in that school. It might be dependent on the local government, and the
Right.
laws in that state.
Yeah.
But ideally, what would happen is if you are somebody that is experiencing bullying or whatever, you're just generally uncomfortable with the way someone's treating you. Ideally, that kid that's being bullied would say to the person who's bullying them, listen, I don't like what you're doing to me. I don't like how you're making me feel. I'd like you to stop.
Yeah. In an ideal world,
In an ideal world, right?
that would be.
Would that
nice.
happen? Maybe.
Yeah.
Would the person stop? Maybe. I mean, this goes back to what I mentioned at the top of the, of the
Because
show.
it's difficult and it's scary to do that even.
Yes.
Like confront someone, be like, hey, I don't know about.
Yeah,
this.
maybe
Like,
it's totally possible that person doesn't know what they're doing. They don't know.
Yeah.
They think they're having fun and they think the person may
Yeah.
be involved in it. I don't see how that could happen
Yeah.
if you're shoving their head into a toilet.
Oh, no.
But I'm just saying
Yeah.
possibility.
Right.
Okay. And the reason why it's a possibility now versus back in the day goes back to what I mentioned earlier with the way we as a society are viewing things.
Right.
40 years ago
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
would have been different. Nowadays, society looks on bullying as that's top 10 worst thing you could do to somebody. Like
Yeah.
ever, right?
Right.
Nowadays, society has made the decision
Yeah.
or made the determination that when someone is being bullied, that is a horrible thing to do to another person.
Yeah.
We've all collectively agreed on
Right.
that.
Right.
Again, with cell phones, social media, like I
Like,
said, you see that little
hey,
kid. We
it's
haven't
like-
we haven't all agreed on that.
Right.
We all look at that like it's commonplace.
Yeah.
So therefore, we're not really doing anything about it. But with bullying, this is why it's a possibility that you have that conversation with that person, and hey, maybe they'll stop.
Yeah.
But let's be real.
Let's be real.
They might not. Okay, so
They're not.
but the point I'm making is, should you have to go to the next step, which is
Bringing someone else in.
bringing someone else in,
Right.
an administrator. Obviously, you'll need to tell the school, like either a teacher that you trust or the vice principal and principal, whoever that might be. In 2023, you might expect a better response than you would in 1988, 1996.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, that is because of how society has moved forward with the way that they view these types of behaviors.
Right.
Okay. Now, the next thing I would say you should do them simultaneously is make sure that you tell your parents. And I say that because if you just tell the school, there's a possibility they might not do shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
That just is what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So they might not do anything. But with your parent involved, obviously, again, this is taking the responsibility out of somebody who is 12 years old
Right.
and putting it into the hands of an adult.
Yeah.
The adult can then hold the school accountable.
Yeah.
You'll need to document every time you've had contact with the school, every time you've told the school, hey, this is what happened, this is what we told
like
them to do,
repeated,
and
yeah.
this is what the results were.
Yeah.
If nothing happened, you can, again, document all that because
Yeah.
then things turn legal.
Right.
And when things turn legal, that's when things happen.
Dang, yeah.
So same thing with cyberbullying.
Yeah.
Um,
It's so messy, like
but-
cyberbullying. It's
Yeah.
just everywhere. Oh my gosh. Like YouTube. Great. Sorry. Sorry.
no, but with kids and stuff, it's it sucks, and I've heard this happen, or people talk about this so much, which is the fact that when you would get bullied at school, you would be able to just keep it at school, go home, and have a completely different experience.
Oh.
But now you're bullied in both places.
Whoa.
So, but same approach. You tell administration at the school, you tell the parent, and they have to do something. And if they don't do
They have to
something,
do
you turn
something, yeah.
things legal.
Yeah.
And what you would want is that for there to be some sort of, I don't know, legal ramifications for not addressing it. But again, that is kind of dependent upon the school. It's
Yeah.
dependent upon the local laws. So yeah,
Wow.
that's
Cool.
bullying.
That leads me to another question I just thought of, but what about if a kid goes to see like the school therapist and they don't find that helpful?
Yeah, that sucks. If they don't find that helpful,
Is there, I mean, then you just have to find like another adult.
yeah, you would have to,
Someone.
you got to go to someone else.
Yeah.
Who you go to is difficult. And the reason why I say that is because the school counselor is usually the most accessible.
Right.
But then there's obviously providers outside of that.
Yeah.
But there may be wait lists to get in contact with someone.
Yeah.
But again, you let your parent know and just try to search for somebody that can assist you
Yeah.
as best you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Okay. Do you want to talk about no supervision?
Oh, the podcast? Yeah.
Yeah. And then we could get into like viewer questions, I guess.
Sure.
Or some of these we already answered, but yeah. Okay.
Well, we
Yeah.
can still see
Yeah.
what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, No Supervision is my podcast. I started that in 2020. I've changed the name at
Cool.
least 3 different times. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I hear you. No. I've had podcasts. I've changed names.
Yeah, I do it for fun. I interview mental health professionals or people that might have some connection to mental health. And I essentially just, like I mentioned, I like hearing about what people do, how they got to where they are, because I think there's a lot of things out there that people are not aware of.
Right.
that psychiatrists do, that psychologists and therapists do.
Mm-hmm.
So I interview those people. The interviews usually last somewhere between 30 minutes and maybe 90 minutes. It depends. And I wish I could be more consistent with it.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah.
Because, if it's not your full-time job, which it's
No,
not.
right.
It's difficult
You
to
can't,
stay consistent with it. But yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. I do the interviews here, actually.
Yeah. This is such a nice little studio you got going on. It's awesome.
So, yeah,
Thank you for letting us record here in your amazing space.
Yeah, no problem. I haven't always had the space, and people typically can't see all
I love this.
Well, you can see that. They
Ow.
can't see the Ninja Turtles in the
Ninja
corner.
Turtles, yeah.
Can't see the Star Wars or
Oh
the
my
Voltron.
gosh, Dragon Ball Z,
The way I get
yeah.
away with having all this crap in my office is I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist, so no one judges me. I don't get judged. But yeah,
This is awesome.
that's the show, and it is available on YouTube. I'm working on the visual aspect. 'Cause every now and then I'll screw up the camera work, but
Oh no, I hear you. I hear you. Oh my
typically,
gosh.
yeah, it's on YouTube. All the podcast. What do you call
You
them?
have very
Platforms?
interesting guests. It's really, you do a really good job.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's high praise from you. High praise. Yeah.
From me.
You're a big influencer, yeah?
Oh no. Oh,
Got your old YouTube page going, popping.
oh my
Huh?
gosh, no.
You've been doing it for
you're-
10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes over those 10
Of
years.
course
but
you
yeah.
did. Those mistakes probably made you a much better
No,
YouTuber
man.
and now podcaster.
Oh my gosh. I don't know about that. But
Okay.
let's go back to you.
Okay,
Just
sure,
kidding.
sure.
What do you hope the mental health field will look like in the future?
What I hope, right? That was the key. All right, what I hope.
What do you hope
Not
the
what I
mental
think
health?
it'll actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I hope it'll look like in the future. Right now I think medicine, especially Western medicine, we're really good at treating illness.
Yeah.
We're crappy at preventing it.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of prevention that goes on, and I think that's what we need to focus more on.
Yeah.
Just stop for a second and think about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's really only 2 cures in medicine:
Mm-hmm.
antibiotics and surgery.
Yeah.
There's only 2 cures. And when I say cures, I'm talking about,
Right.
okay, you give the medicine or you perform the procedure, and after that,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to really worry about it anymore.
Right.
We don't have any of that.
Mm.
Cancer treatments, you still have to undergo treatments consistently. And
Yeah.
I mean, if you can resect it, obviously, then that cancer, that tumor is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a part of surgery.
Yeah.
2 cures.
Yeah.
I think that the best direction that we can go is being a little bit more concerned with putting people in a position to where they can be healthy throughout their life and not
Yeah.
trying to, catch up in terms of treating illness, because that's essentially what we do.
Yeah.
I think therapy and at an early age, and learning coping skills at an early age, and understanding the importance of being able to communicate with other people, falling back on cell phone and social media usage. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Look at the graph.
Yeah. Look at the graph.
So let's stop for a sec. Look at the graph. When we talk about prevention, it's like
Dang, that's like
something as simple as
not the trajectory you want.
something in terms of preventing anxiety, depressive disorders, suicidal ideation and attempts, cutting back on cutting back on cell phone usage. I can't say what the effect would be, but I would imagine that there would be a significant difference if the theory is correct, that this is not coincidental. Okay. So prevention. I hope that we invest a little bit more in prevention in terms of healthcare, both for mental health and physical health as well, because I don't know if we do a great job of getting, not processed foods and things of that nature, and investing in the importance of exercise.
Oh man, runner's high.
I personally don't meditate. I don't, it's not my thing, but I definitely encourage it for all people, and it's something that people should be aware of at an early age versus after they have flaming anxiety, It's a lot easier to address issues when they're early on versus after things have gotten to the point where, it's difficult to address. So those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Oh man, that would be wonderful if the mental health space looked. But yeah,
What?
it's one thing. Like, yeah, it's just like
You had
I mean,
thoughts.
things are improving. You wish things would improve at a faster pace, but this is where we are.
Yeah, it's
no.
improving because of
It takes slow change.
it's our generation that is getting out of the way. I guess you could say.
Yeah,
It's the,
that's a good way to put it.
It's the younger people that I think are seeing our flaws and trying to correct them. But obviously, every generation will have its issues. So
Yeah. I think I asked you this off camera, but when you started getting interested in podcasts, like in 2018,
podcasting.
probably?
No,
No,
20,
way before then.
Well, before then, because I have a friend named Steve who he is not okay. Steve and Ernie were doing a podcast. What the hell's the name of that podcast, man? It's Split Screen.
Split Screen.
Yeah, it's a movie podcast where they
yeah.
they
Movie
both-
reviews?
They watch movies. Steve
Yeah.
is like this just very I would say he's how do I describe Steve's personality? He's a big realist. Some would say he's kind of ornery. Very specific about what he likes in movies. Ernie's just kind of like whatever, I don't care. But I was but Steve is he just did his podcast for fun and I liked it, and I think that put me in a space where I said to myself, okay, I think I can do this. I think because he's just
that's
doing it
cool.
for fun. You don't have to do it for for funding or for money or for fame, or you can just do it for fun. So,
Yeah, I hear you. For real.
doing it since then.
Very cool. Very cool.
Thank you.
Let's see. I think we have some viewer questions.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's dive in. So I have a comment from a viewer, and I wondered if I could get your thoughts on
Sure.
how you could respond. Let's see. It says, they say, okay, I called the suicide hotline a few times. I tried calling a couple times and was treated like total garbage. That does tend to happen sometimes.
Really?
What would you say to someone who's like reaching out for help and then they're not really getting it?
Yeah,
in a
that
suicide
sucks.
hotline.
They're talking about the 988 number.
Yeah.
So that sucks.
Yeah.
That is horrible. Don't let that stop you from still reaching out and searching for help.
Yeah.
To be honest, one thing that you might want to do, and this is for other people that are searching for help, to the viewer, the listener, anybody else that has experienced this, there might be a way for you to report. I can't imagine there's not.
Yeah. Huh. I never even thought of that.
Because without
I'm like,
someone saying something about it, whoever that person was is going to continue to take those calls, and
right.
and that's
And if
not
they're
good
not
for
taking care of
anybody.
their mental health, then it's like, ooh.
Well, yeah. How many other people are having that experience and then kind of turned off from the experience?
Right.
But yeah, I would still encourage that person to still continue either trying to call that number or maybe even the next day.
Something else.
And if
or
they're having thoughts
911
about
or
hurting
whatever.
themselves, go to the hospital instead.
Yeah.
There's always an ER that you can go to locally where you can get help, especially in an emergency situation. But certainly if that happened to you or anyone that's listening has had that happen, you can report it. And just, I think the most you would have to do is give your number and the day that you called, and they might be able to look it up and do some investigation about that.
Yeah. Okay. This next one kind of leads into that. They say, I'm scared to call the 988 phone number because I'm afraid of the police just showing up at my house.
Oh, yeah. You know
I don't
what?
think that would happen, right? Like they don't just do, I mean.
No, not automatic. I think I looked up. So on the website, okay, the FAQs, I looked that up. All right, so for questions like this, the SAMHSA website is actually pretty good. It's samhsa.gov. You can put the link
Sure.
in the description too for this as well. So I will answer this specific question with specifics from the website, okay? And the prompt says, if I call 988, will first responders be automatically dispatched? And I'll read what the website says, okay? The primary goal of the Lifeline is to provide support for people in suicidal crisis or mental health related distress in the moments they most need it and in a manner which is person-centered. The vast majority of those seeking help from the Lifeline do not require any additional interventions at that moment. Currently, fewer than 2% of Lifeline calls require connection to emergency services like 911. While some safety and health issues may warrant a response from law enforcement and or emergency medical services, namely when a suicide attempt is in progress, the 988 coordinated response is intended to promote stabilization and care in the least restrictive manner, which, you know, I can leave it just as that, but I think my interpretation of that is no, not automatically.
Right.
But if the situation warrants it, yes, they can be called to your place if the situation warrants it.
Yeah. Okay. I have another question that kind of circles back to like expectations as a child, like, and all the expectations kids have on them with school and whatnot. This person was asking, hang on, let me find it again. I just had it. Oh, okay. So this is more of a comment, but I see this a lot. Like comments similar to this is like, school really cracked me. And the worst part is my parents say it's only going to get harder, so I must not fail. Like, what do you say to kids that have like all that expectation and pressures on them? And it's like, how do they deal with all the stuff and then life and school and family and friends? And it's just a very challenging time. Like,
yeah. The toughest part about being in school is the fact that you don't have very little control over where you go. And even you can pick some of your friends, right? But if there's people in the school that you don't like, you still have to go to school with them every day, you know, and it's terrible. And there's also parents' expectations of you that might not match what you want for your life. What I can say is that generally speaking, okay, there's no guarantee on this, but generally speaking, things tend to get better once you get out of grade school. You know, you can make the decision with whether or not you want to go to college. And if you choose to go to college, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to do career-wise. Now, that is for what I'll say in the United States of America. Typically, that's the opportunity that you get.
yeah.
But you and I both know that not everyone has parents that adhere to those types of, I guess, ideals.
Yeah.
Some parents want you to go to medical school. Some parents want you to be a lawyer, doctor, engineer.
Yeah.
Some people just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What I can say to you is this: the best thing that you might want to do is you need to speak with a therapist about that.
Yeah.
Because you're having to make a decision about your own personal decisions with what you want, and you're weighing that against with what your parents want
In
from
your
you.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not something that's easily navigated with just you having to make the decision. Typically you would want someone, ideally a professional, to help you navigate all that. Now, you could obviously have, I always say this, you could obviously have a conversation with your parents about your needs and your wants, but you know your parents better than anybody. And some parents just are not trying to hear it. They just, let's be real about this. Some parents don't care what you want. They want you to fit into what their traditional style, what fits their traditional style.
Right.
And again, that's very tough for anyone
the
to deal with.
expectations on that.
What I will say is there's a comment. Was this the one where it said something about I must not fail?
Yes.
Okay. See, statements like that make me think that therapy is going to be very beneficial because the idea that you can't fail is inherently
That's so sad.
It's sad. It's
Because I fail every day. Like,
thank you. That's the point. That's the point.
Late getting here.
That's
I'm
the
like,
point.
even though I was like trying so hard to get here on time, I'm like, I'm still late.
That's the point. Exactly.
Tried.
Exactly. And people need help coming to the realization that failure is a part of life.
Right.
Even when you win. So Floyd Mayweather is a boxer. He's 50.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
Oh,
50
I
now.
love Wayne. Yeah.
But Mayweather has been, I think he got knocked down once at least. I think he took a couple tough hits. But, you know, along the way of him being perfect with his record, he took lots of hits along the way.
Yeah.
So even when you win, there are losses
There's
along
so
the way.
many. Yeah.
So somebody that doesn't quite see that, I would recommend some form of therapy. It doesn't necessarily matter what type you do, but just touch base with someone and you know, talk about these issues. I think that'll be important for this person.
Because it seems like such a trapped feeling, like like having these expectations placed on you, and you're young, and you're going in a direction that you don't want to necessarily go in.
It's all or
Yeah,
nothing.
it's difficult. Yeah,
It's all or nothing, and
Yeah.
that's not.
like this doesn't feel right to me, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, thank you for your. Sorry.
Just my thoughts.
I have questions about childhood sexual abuse on my YouTube channel, and this person says, my abuse left me with many psychological issues and unhealthy behaviors. Will these ever go away?
So,
And that, yeah,
that's a
It's a
tough one to answer.
yeah.
Tough one to answer. But what I'll say is this: I can comment on it, not necessarily. I don't think I can give a
there's not very
specific
much.
answer for that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can just say that
it's pretty broad.
that's terrible that you went through that. I'm very
Mhm.
sorry. But again, this goes back to what I'm saying, what I said earlier, where
Mhm.
you're not alone.
Yeah.
I've worked in the juvenile justice system.
Mhm.
I've worked in regular outpatient clinics, and just generally speaking, knowing people. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
This person is not alone in what they've
Right.
experienced.
Mhm.
Okay, so what was the prompt again?
Oh, they're saying their abuse left them with many psychological issues and unhealthy behaviors.
Oh yeah.
Will these ever go away?
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
with therapy, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, but I
and
think
then-
the overall point or takeaway from this is even if you didn't have that occurrence in your life, everyone has
right,
psychological issues.
right,
Everyone has
because you're living on this planet.
exactly. So you're not alone in the fact that you have psychological issues and behavioral issues.
Right.
You're also not alone in the fact that you've suffered that trauma in the past.
Mhm.
Bottom line is just what you said. Therapy is going to help you.
Mhm.
Therapy is going to help you navigate those issues
Mhm.
because you need to understand what those issues are, where they come from,
Mhm.
and you need to be able to set goals for
Mhm.
what you want to do with those behaviors because you're always going to have something.
Huh.
Everyone's
Yeah.
going to have something.
Right. Right.
And just remember, you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to be
Mhm.
without psychological issues. You're not going to
Yeah.
be without some behaviors that people don't like.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of which behaviors do you think are making things difficult for you
Mhm.
in your life,
Right.
and how do you want to address them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No easy answer for that
Yeah.
one, but
No, but thank you. That's wonderful. Yeah. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, here's a question. How can I explain maladaptive daydreaming to my parents? This viewer asks.
oh yeah.
What do you think about maladaptive daydreaming?
So there's many ways to interpret maladaptive daydreaming. I don't exactly
What
know.
is maladaptive daydreaming?
I
for viewers?
don't know.
Okay. Well,
I
maybe
think,
we don't even have to go there. We don't even have to.
No, we can.
mean-
But this is maybe a
Yeah.
broader topic. So
Mhm.
any discussion that you need to have with your parents.
How do you have a conversation with your parents?
Right. So that's what I'm about to say. So
How do you tell them stuff?
having a discussion with your parents, it can be difficult depending upon the parent.
Right.
So just like
Yeah.
kids, it's just how like parents have to know their kids. Kids have to
Yeah.
kind of know their parents too. Sometimes you try to approach your parents and
Yeah.
they hear you out and they
Mhm.
listen to you, and sometimes they just completely shut you down and you're
Yeah.
not getting anything out of the conversation.
Yeah.
One thing that might help is because kids 12, 13 years old.
Yeah.
In California, you can approach a therapist and ask them, like, you can actually engage in treatment without your parents' consent, without them
Really?
knowing about it. Yeah, you can do that.
That's so cool.
Most providers might
I
actually
didn't know that.
most providers might actually require you to get your parents' consent, but some will take without
A
without
lot of
any issue.
viewers didn't know that either.
Yeah,
Hey,
well, that's just California.
California people.
California.
Kids. Hey.
You can engage in treatment without consent.
Mhm.
Talking to the counselor might
Mm-hmm.
be a good idea, and the counselor might be able to approach a family therapist or a relationship
Yeah.
therapist, because those folks are the best at communicating
Right.
information to loved ones.
Right.
Because you need to have communication skills, whether
Mhm.
it be in a relationship,
Mhm.
like a couples counselor,
Right.
and a family counselor.
Uh-huh.
They typically know the best ways to get that communication
Navigate.
across to people that typically are not great with communicating.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah, school counselor might be a good idea. And like I said, it might be a matter of being able to get in contact with a family counselor
Mhm.
or a relationship counselor, because they are the best at
Mhm.
trying to get certain messages across.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the big thing is when you speak to that therapist, if you're able to get in contact with a therapist, is just be aware that there's the possibility that having the conversation might go positively.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that it won't,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a good idea to be prepared with
Mm-hmm.
both outcomes.
Right.
Because I think sometimes people will fantasize or even role play. Oh,
Mhm.
that's a good one too. You can role play
Mhm.
with a friend, maybe
Yeah.
having that conversation. I think I mentioned this earlier. Writing down your thoughts
Yeah.
and feelings
Uh-huh.
might be the
Expressing
best
yourself
way.
some way.
Yeah. So you're
Mhm.
not, rambling like you and I probably ramble
Yeah.
sometimes.
It's fun.
No, but that way you get your thoughts out on
Uh-huh.
paper and everything's
Right.
out there.
Right.
And, but yeah, if you don't feel comfortable expressing it at all and you need some professional help, yeah, I would recommend going that direction.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Another viewer question. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Is there anything to help with heightened anxiety and insomnia? I'm afraid to try medication.
Afraid to try Medicaid. Okay, yeah, well that's fair. I can understand that. Being afraid to well, if we were able to have a conversation, I would ask you why you're
Right.
afraid to try medication. But we're
Yeah.
not able to do that, and
Not
that's
able to,
okay.
okay.
But therapy options are actually available for sleep. It's called one that I can think of that might be effective is cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia.
Uh-huh.
Now, the issue with CBTI is it's kind of hard to follow the protocol. We're talking about getting rid of the cell phone and all the stimuli that keeps you awake.
Yeah.
Making changes to your sleep
Whew.
schedule and
Your whole sleep routine.
Yeah.
Like getting ready for sleep and
yeah,
actually sleeping.
yeah, you're gonna have to make
If you even have that. Sorry.
you're gonna have to make real changes to your sleep schedule
Uh-huh.
and how you approach getting ready for sleep. And sleep hygiene is what we call it. It's very effective. It just depends on whether or not you can follow the protocol. Again, that's called CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. So assuming you do all the things with CBTI and anxiety is the issue. Anxiety typically does prevent people from sleeping because what they'll do is they'll lay in bed and they'll just ruminate
Yeah.
their thoughts all night.
Constant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't go away because the problem is at nighttime. That is when there's no other stimuli around. You're just laying in bed.
Ooh, my
Yeah,
monkey brain.
yeah.
Yeah.
The lights are off. It's dark. There's no other stimuli. It's just you and your thoughts, and that's
Wonderful place to be.
for some, yeah. For some, yeah. You're just thinking about what's going on the next day. You're thinking about what happened that day.
Uh-huh.
So
All the
certainly,
stuff you have to do.
exactly.
Yada, 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 yada. Yeah.
So along with changing up sleep schedule and sleep hygiene and addressing all those issues, you might want to address what's making you anxious. You might need to make some adjustments to what's going on in your daily life that's causing the anxiety. But bottom line is all of that stuff should be led by a therapist.
Right.
Right. Led by a therapist. And look, if the determination is made where medications are recommended, you don't have to necessarily take them, but you can ask a provider about
Right.
what exactly entails with taking medications.
Right.
So that's an option. Just do some exploration, do some
Yeah.
research.
And then starting that conversation and being
Yeah.
able to be open and to, options.
Yeah. You don't have to make it. Even when we do medication evals with Scene Psychiatry with me and Jordan, people don't have to take
Right.
medications.
I like the I'm slipping on I like the options. Like being able to have options instead of just this or this.
Oh yeah,
Having multiple options. These are all the things that could happen. Nothing's set in stone.
right.
That kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Just
It's
going
cool.
in and talking to a doctor doesn't mean you're
Right.
going to take meds.
Doesn't mean there's action that's going to be
Yeah.
happening right then and there.
Right.
And you're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life.
Right.
I feel like sometimes I get that kind of thought from viewers, I guess, in their questions is okay, this is just how it is now. This is how I'm going to live my life now. I'm on these medications because I have anxiety and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have to go, you don't have to go down the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah, yeah. Of
It's
the end point of,
right.
of things.
Forever.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's just for right now.
Exactly.
Just
Temporary.
right now and what we're doing.
You've got the option.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the doc prescribes you something, you don't have to pick it up. Even if you pick it up, you don't have to take it. It's just you have options.
You have options.
You have what we call autonomy.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're concerned about afraid to take medications, I would ask why you're worried about medications. If you're interested in just using non-medicinal options, that's perfectly reasonable. We might even recommend that ourselves. There are therapy modalities for that. I mentioned one already.
Yeah.
There's also therapy for anxiety as well.
Yeah.
But look, if that stuff doesn't work out, then you can start talking about using other avenues.
Yeah.
But you have options.
You have options.
Yeah.
You have options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a lot of young viewers on YouTube, and I think they would just like to hear some words from a professional, like someone who might hear them or see them who are hurting. Do you have any words? Anything to say to like young teenagers who might be watching like videos on YouTube and they might be struggling and they don't really know where to go or what to do, but they just know something's wrong or something's off? Like, what would you say to like a young kid who's like just realizing they need changes in their lives?
I think most of the conversations that I have with, especially with teenagers, is there's this idea that things are supposed to be. They are at that moment supposed to have not everything, but things are supposed to be better than they are at the moment.
Right.
And I think that is just a part of being young.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things take time to develop.
Right.
Success takes time to develop.
Yeah. It's not overnight.
Yeah, it's not overnight. And it takes a long time to get to a place where you feel comfortable with yourself.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're not comfortable with yourself, in many ways, that's not uncommon. That's not abnormal. That's not in itself concerning. In many ways, you are where you're supposed to be.
Right.
Okay. Now, obviously, there's levels to that. Mild, moderate, severe, right? There's levels to it where, if you're in a point where you're thinking about ending your life, you're thinking about hurting yourself, cutting yourself, that's a separate category. We've already discussed calling for help for that sort of thing. But if you're in a place where you feel like you haven't quite achieved everything you're supposed to achieve, you're not the only one experiencing that.
Yeah, it's everyone.
It takes time to get to a place where you're comfortable with your own success and who you are as a person. It takes time to develop these things.
Yeah.
Bottom line is you are where you're supposed to be. Okay. Where you want to go is heavily dependent upon working with other people, being able to express yourself. You always want to get a good, at least one friend, your support system, who it is that you confide in and speak with. Yeah, it's difficult to say it to a mass amount of people, but typically speaking, like for the general young person, it takes time for you to get to where you want to be in life.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep that in mind. It's okay.
I think some of the thing I can sense is frustration because of the role of social media and like online fame or like success and what that looks like. And then like these kids think they have to be an influencer and they don't and I can see how that could be so frustrating or whatever it is they want to do. But it's like when you see that success on your phone and you don't have that or something, like then they start comparing themselves or like thinking, oh, I don't have that, so I don't have anything. Like, and that's not, I mean, it's such a destructive way of thinking. I don't know if I'm even asking a question here.
No, there's no question.
Yeah.
We're going over what we discussed earlier, where you shouldn't be your mind is in a place where it shouldn't be at that age.
Yeah. Like thinking of all these things that you don't need to be concerning yourself with.
Yeah. Most of the time with kids, you would see fantasy life, which might be what's a great movie, a great fantasy movie.
Ooh.
I can't think of think of any Disney movie.
Yeah.
Any Disney movie. Right. But now that's a movie. You watch it for about 2 hours at a time. And obviously little girls want to be princesses. A little boy might want to be a king or whatever. But now you watch it for 2 hours with your family. But now you're seeing that sort of fantasy every day for 24 hours a day,
everywhere.
7 days a week.
Like everybody else has this amazing lifestyle that I don't have.
Well, it's not real.
It's not real. That's one image you're looking at.
Yeah. It's also an image of what people feel comfortable putting out there.
Right.
Even some of the stuff that people talk about that is actually deep and personal to them.
Even that is edited, or it's
yes. Some of that is
like
even
I'm showing
filtered.
you what I want you to see,
Right.
and that is all.
And when you're watching that kind of stuff growing up, this is why I'm going back to what I'm talking about into age appropriateness.
Right.
Watching that kind of stuff is it's not good for your
It's
brain.
unhelpful.
You're not seeing something that is reality based.
Right. You're just seeing like an end product.
Yeah.
That took how much time?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So that's why I say you might want to be someplace else, but typically, generally speaking, in terms of success, in terms of who you are as a person, you are where you're supposed to be.
Right.
And it's difficult for me to say, don't worry about what other people are doing over there because you got this in your hand.
Yeah.
Put it down.
You have like constant reminder right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just something you have to be aware of, I guess. Mindfulness. Oh my God. No.
It's tough to
That's
tough to do.
It's so tough to do.
The way we
like bad habits, can be so hard to break, but I guess it depends.
Well, the way we sorry if I keep saying this, but
No,
the way our
go for it.
society is driven, there's no motivation to get rid of these things. It's just kind of just going to be
not
a part
anytime
of us.
soon. And all these new apps keep coming out.
Until we make changes, we can expect for that graph to go in the direction that it's been going until we all make a decision that enough is enough.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
No.
Any last words or any? I don't know. I don't.
So yeah, whichever direction you wanna go with it. But yeah, so if you were interested in services, Jordan, David, and I have a practice. If you're in California, that is, we have a practice called Seeing Psychiatry. It's all telehealth.
Yeah.
And
you gotta talk to the camera.
talk to the camera.
Yeah, talk to the camera. Talk to the camera.
I like
if
talking to you though.
Okay.
I'll talk
Never
to-
mind. Just talk to me.
I'll do both. Like I never like talking to. I know I'm talking to
talk
y'all,
to the camera?
but I'm a conversationalist.
Okay. On the audio, we're talking, but on the
Right, they
on
can't
the, on the
tell.
camera.
They can't tell. But no, Jordan and I have a practice called Seeing Psychiatry, and it's seen as in past tense of to see someone. Medication management experts. If you were interested in medications, that's a place you would go. If you're a resident of California, they're accepting new patients, and just depends on availability and fit. The Cube Mental Health Services and another practice I have with alternative sort of treatments for mental health. That one is under development right now. We're actually seeing people in person, hopefully in the next month or so, maybe. I just got new office space.
That's coming in soon.
Yeah, it's someday we'll talk about the business of medicine, maybe.
Okay.
It's quite ridiculous. And we do have an Instagram for Seeing Psychiatry. It's Seeing Psychiatry, although it's not actually functional. The Cube has an Instagram as well. That's Cube Psych. I've got a YouTube channel that's not up and running yet, but hopefully in the next few weeks I'll have some more stuff. That's Dr. Thomas Hughes. Has the YouTube channel. The websites got a lot of stuff. Actually.
Do it.
The websites, seeingpsychiatry.com. And then you have Cube Psych. That's Cube like the shape, CUBE, psych.com. You can go there. And right now, I'm mostly seeing patients that are in California, and then with Cube, Florida, Virginia for teleservices, Maryland, and Virginia in the future. Stay tuned for details. And the podcast is called No Supervision.
No supervision.
No supervision.
So cool. Oh my gosh. Man, you got a lot.
You're a great hype person.
You got a lot of plates. You're,
4 jobs.
Yeah, 4 jobs. Yeah.
Talk about all my jobs. I work with foster kids up in Sacramento
Really?
too. I do that mostly with Tella.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have
I
4
wanna do
jobs.
stuff like that.
I work with kids,
I wanna
foster
work
kids.
with kids. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You have plans to start that?
I have no idea.
Thinking about it?
I am, thinking about it.
Working it
Yeah.
out.
Working it out. Yeah. It's cool to talk to people like yourself and like people who are already doing the cool stuff. You do important work and I appreciate it. Like it's okay. For me, it's like I'm trying to find the good guys in the mental health space. And I feel like I kind of finally have because I've been like tossed around a lot.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to like amplify something that is actually helpful. So,
Awesome.
thank you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we'll keep talking. We'll be around. You got these spaces.
Yep.
Well, again, try to promote people that are doing positive things and not the negative. We're supporting, not enabling.
The
right?
good in the world. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You're awesome. Awesome individual. Everybody go
you.
follow what he's doing because he's, Dr. Thomas Hughes.
I'm black, but I'm about to blush. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Right,
Yay.
awesome. All
Good
finished.
Thomas Hughes.
Hey, that's the end. Okay, we're finished.
Yeah.
The information discussed in this podcast should not be used for diagnosing or treating a mental health condition or disease, and those seeking personal medical or psychiatric advice should consult with a licensed physician for formal recommendations.